Good morning, everyone. I'm Kelly Ziegler, and I'm with the Research Innovation Office at the University of Guelph. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you here today to the 2024 Ontario Agri-Tech Pitch Competition. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the history of the land we are on today. Guelph resides on the treaty lands and territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit. I recognize this gathering place where we work and learn is home to many past, present, and future First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. I acknowledge this out of respect of the land I'm on today and for the people who have and do reside here. We have a fantastic lineup of homegrown entrepreneurs presenting here today, and I know you'll all be really impressed. Now, to get things underway, I'd like to introduce you to our MC. He is a farmer and award-winning communications professional. Please welcome Andrew Campbell.
Thanks, Kelly. Good morning, everybody. I didn't mean when I said we were going to start soon to have you all go silent for 5 minutes. I didn't know if that was nerves or whether you were just following instruction, but I appreciate we're rolling on time. It is great to be here again this year. We had a really great competition last year. We were talking about it before. And it's just exciting to be able to see some of the innovation that is happening locally and to be able to highlight that. So it's really exciting, and I'm excited to see all of the companies that are going to. I'm going to actually let you give a wave here for everybody in the room so we can kind of get an idea. We've got Beck's Broth is here. Good morning. Catalytics is over here. Good morning. We've got Earth One. Good morning. Erode AI. Good morning. And Interius Farms. Morning. I said that right, Interius? Oh, perfect. Don't want to mess up on the first minute. The way we're going to roll for the morning, and for those that are joining us online, we've got lots online, so it's great to have you as well. What we're going to do in a few minutes is we're going to go through each of the companies and innovations is going to get 3 whole minutes to pitch to the judges about what you do and the excitement that you're bringing to Agri-Tech in Ontario. So in those 3 minutes, I'll kind of stand to the side and get closer and closer as you get more and more over time and kind of just slide in front and take over the mic if you're too long over. And then the judges get a whole 7 minutes then to be able to ask questions. So you've really got 10 minutes basically to give that pitch. And I'm excited to be able to hear what the judges' questions are. We'll roll through all 5 of those companies. And then what we'll do, we'll take a break. We'll get a finalist group photo. We'll let the judges do the most difficult task of the day and pick our winner. And then we'll come back at the end for our awards. And then we do have afterwards a tour of the collective, which is upstairs, I believe, right? Second floor. And so we'll do that afterwards too. So it's really going to be an exciting morning to do this. I do want to introduce our judges now, and you can give a wave as well. Brian Cram. Good morning, Brian. Brian's a general partner at 519 Growth and president at Janita Inc. Throughout his career, he's had the privilege of working alongside many founder entrepreneurs with a collaborative approach, empathy for all stakeholders, and decisiveness that's allowed business under his leadership to thrive within a variety of different ownership structures, whether that's family, employee-owned, private equity, or publicly backed. He's a trusted advisor and member of several company and industry-related boards due to a strong belief that there's not a one-size-fits-all solution to any given situation, an understanding of board governance issues and creative approach to negotiations and organizational dynamics. And he's definitely used that and served on many boards throughout here in the province and then other places in Canada. So thanks, Brian, for joining us. We've also got Brian, too. Brian Duarte is a managing partner. Brian Middle, I don't know, we could do it that. Brian's a managing partner at Black Tech Capital. He's a social venturist, entrepreneur, and licensed professional engineer with over 30 years of experience, particularly in the energy industry. He's the founder and the managing partner at Black-Tech Capital, with experience in creating, developing, and growing companies in the energy, clean tech, and sustainability sectors, with a focus on underrepresented founders. Black-Tech Capital was selected by the World Economic Forum as one of the most innovative investment funds, which invest in people and planet-focused entrepreneurs. So, Brian, thanks very much for joining us today. And then we've got Dr. Deb Stark here as well. She's a former vice chair of the University of Guelph and former deputy minister at OMAFRA. She's a leader and learner with a lifelong interest in Canadian agriculture and the people who feed us. She's had those roles that I mentioned, as well as other senior leadership roles within OMAFRA, the Ministry of the Environment, as well as Ontario's first chief veterinary officer. And she also serves on many organizations and boards, and we're really pleased to have you here as well. So welcome, Deb, Brian, and Brian. All right. Should we sit quietly for another 2 minutes of awkward silence just to build the tension? Or no, we wouldn't do that. What I would love to do is introduce Beck's Broth and let you two take the floor this morning.
That's for you. Test that it works. Oh, the slides got a little bit wonky.
Oh, whoops. All right, so hi everybody, my name is Beck. I'm a holistic nutritionist, founder and CEO here at Beck's Broth.
And hi, I'm Dom. I'm a food and sustainability engineer, and I am the COO and partner here at Beck's Broth.
So as a gut health nutritionist, I was always recommending bone broth to my clients because it's super easy for the body to absorb the nutrients and healing as well. So I noticed a reoccurring problem. There wasn't an easy or intuitive way for my clients to drink bone broth, but they still had no problem spending $10 every day at Starbucks.
So meet Beck's Broth, where nourishment meets decadence. So we've taken your favorite everyday comfort beverages like coffee and hot chocolate and infused them with neutral tasting pasture-raised bone broth. So you get 14 grams of protein in every cup and only 2 to 3 ingredients. And our customers are always blown away by the taste because it's creamy from the bone broth and it doesn't taste like bone broth.
So there are other bone broth companies on the market right now, but they all have the exact same thing in common. They're making bone broth taste like bone broth, like everyday soup. We are the only ones out there that's actually making bone broth taste like the beverages that you want to drink every single day. So as you can see, the bone broth market is on the rise. So this is the trend report for the last 20 years. So its consistent growth means that it is here to stay and only get bigger.
So we have just hit profitability at the end of April, and we've gotten this far by emphasizing our B2B sales and using them as a feeder to direct-to-consumer subscribers on our website. So when customers try us in store, they like it, they subscribe online, and then we have them on a bi-weekly subscription model. And we think this is a good long-term strategy because it is a more profitable way to do business. So we've been in market with this dehydrated product for 8 months, and we have some good metrics. So we have an $125 average order value on our website. We have a 70% returning customer rate and a 55% gross blended margin. And the industry is starting to notice us. So recently we pitched on Dragon's Den, and we were just awarded Ones to Watch by the Canadian Health Food Association. And now, where is Beck's Broth headed? So in Q3, we're launching our third SKU, and then in Q4, we are beginning our export process. We did a trade export plan with the World Trade Center, and we're looking to export to California and Texas to start. These two areas are just known for higher income earners and their wellness hubs, so it's where our target customers really are. And this puts us on track to stay profitable while we hit $2 million in sales next year.
And here's the team that's going to make it happen. So Dom and I have really nice comparable skills, or not comparable skill sets. Complementary skill sets. So I am the visionary and the community builder, and then Dom is the problem solver and operational genius. So our lean business model allowed us to bootstrap since the very beginning, and we use 90% of our spend, we invest 90% of our spend in Ontario-owned businesses. So since we are the first ones in the bone broth latte space, we are really looking to put Ontario on the map in the CPG industry. And so with the money that would be awarded today, if we do choose to win, we really want to launch our e-commerce sale, which we will use the revenue from that to increase our production runs and allow us to grow as a business. So yeah, we just want to say thank you guys so much for this opportunity.
Thanks. Oh, that is impressive. Thanks very much. That's a great story. The floor is now yours, judges. Maybe what I'll do is I'll have you start, Deb, and we can kind of go down the line. You guys have 7 minutes.
Great. Thank you very much. Great pitch and congratulations.
Thank you.
Some really great successes there. I probably missed this, but I just had a kind of a simple question. Do I buy my $10 coffee at Starbucks and add your broth, or do I have to buy my coffee from you?
Yeah, so buy the coffee from us. So right now we sell our products in individual serving sizes. There's some at our table which you guys can try later on. So in the serving sizes, it's just the plain pasture-raised bone broth, organic cacao, or maple sugar for the hot chocolate. And then the coffee is just the pasture-raised bone broth with organic instant coffee. So what you do is you take that powder, add it to your mug, add 1 cup of water, and it dissolves right in. So then you get the 15 grams of protein and then your coffee or hot chocolate.
Okay, so you're kind of targeting the people that are very concerned about their diet and they're making a lot of things at home. And
exactly, yeah. Our biggest consumers are like health-conscious individuals, and especially the ones with the young kids, because the chocolate just tastes like chocolate milk. So it's a really nice, seamless way to get nutrition into the young ones' diets as well.
Great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Great presentation. My first question is around you're targeting. You're talking about the bone broth market. There's a tough one to say. And you're saying that, it's growing year over year. I think it was like 2.8 billion you're showing by next year. How does that intersect with your typical customer? Does that type of customer is also the type of customer is going to spend $10 at Starbucks? Have you looked at the intersection of the two?
Mm-hmm. So pretty much with this, they're not going out to Starbucks every day to pick up their coffee. So it would take like their budget away from their average weekly coffee budget and then be spending that on Beck's broth. If that's the question that you're asking, sorry.
But are they the same customer? That's what I'm asking. Is that customer that buys bone broth today the same customer that was looking for that high-end coffee?
I feel like the customers that we actually have right now aren't even drinking bone broth yet, but they realize they're hearing bone broth over and over again. And so now they're actually consuming the bone broth, but yes, they are coffee drinkers as well.
So you're trying to move them into the bone broth market, but they're not really part of that $2.8 billion growth market today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, great presentation. And part of this is from what you said and also some pre-read, looking at your website, et cetera. With the You're in Healthy Planet, Somerville, and that type of thing, are you getting good reorders through them? And do they have any eye on the type of consumer that is buying the product?
Yeah, I can actually speak to this if that's okay. So one thing that we do here sometimes when we try and get into new retailers is that they're nervous that the product might not move off the shelves. So we really developed a solid case studies to send them to show what we've done in other stores to really build their trust there. And all of them are blown away by the turnover actually in store. So they reorder on a bi-weekly to monthly basis and always are increasing their orders over time. And let's just say for when we're in, we really prioritize store demonstrations. So we're in the stores on the weekends. We have some demo agencies that we work with. And let's just say, for example, we have 19 people trying the product. We often sell like 35 units when we only have 19 people trying. So the conversion rate is extremely high.
Okay, and sort of just followed on to that before I pass it back to Deb. How long have you been in those stores? Just to see if that pattern is continuing.
So we launched the product in September of last year. Yeah. So all of our key metrics we really started to collecting since January. So before we transitioned over to the powdered product, I was doing a bone broth in like a glass liquid jar. So there was some market research there, which I was doing for 2 years. And then we just transitioned over to the powdered product in September.
Okay,
so,
thanks.
Yeah.
What's it going to take you to scale up and actually sell that $2 million? How are you producing that right now? Where are you sourcing? What did you call them? Your pasture-raised bones? What's it going to take?
That one.
Yeah, so we're sourcing our bones from New Zealand right now. New Zealand has beautiful pastures for the cows to be raised on, and there's nowhere in North America that produces pasture-raised bone broth to the quality standards that we're looking for. As we scale, we'd love to be able to work with local farmers like we used to in our jar product and bring that spray drying manufacturing process in-house, but that's more like in the 5-year long term versus this first 2 million. So to get with that 2 million, all of our suppliers are kind of aware. We do like regular projections meetings with them. We work with a supplier down in Burlington for our coffee and the New Zealand bone broth supplier, and we have our sugar supplier. And we're starting to work more directly with the farmers down in Ecuador for the cacao, just to make sure that we can bring in those like tons at a time. And in terms of scaling to that point, we have everything we need from an operational perspective. We know that we need obviously cash to buffer our cash flow, because while we are profitable, there's net payment terms which kind of get in the way of things. So we have an investment partner right now with Harvest Impact Downtown Guelph, and we're also starting to talk with different credit unions, and we'll need probably around 50% of our sales target to buffer that cash flow.
And just where are you actually manufacturing?
In Burlington, we have a co-packer.
And you have enough capacity there
Yeah.
to meet those kind of sales? Okay.
And some nice price breaks as we increase, which will be nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
So looking at that rapid growth that you were showing from the second to the third year, I believe, was a massive jump. Didn't see anything particular in the presentation on what's that overall marketing strategy to get you there, because what I'm seeing there, yes, that'll get you to the 2 million, but what's going to get you that next massive jump from a marketing perspective?
Yeah, and I can hop on this. So right now it's just Dom and I working on building the sales, but we do know that as we grow, we really are looking to bring on a partnership when it comes to a broker. So we're already scouting some relationships to build with certain brokers, which will help push our product. But then also we really want to lean heavily on our email marketing as well and our online presence. So I think just really building a marketing campaign that brings awareness to Beck's Broth through social channels. So we deal really good with our Instagram and our TikTok community, showing up every single day and really building that community. So I think when we come to that extreme growth, it's going to be our partnership with our broker to really help propel sales, and then also just pounding the pavement online and really bringing sales in, working with user-generated content creators, which is like the fastest growing industry right now, and just, really bringing more awareness to the name and the product itself.
Thank you.
How about a round of applause for Beck's Broth, everybody?
Well done.
All right, so our next pitch comes from Catalytics.
So this is from a dairy that's only about half an hour here, Lowitz Dairy, as you probably know. But I hope you enjoy. If you're watching, you don't get cheese curds, but you can go and check out Summit Station. Okay. So my name is Dr. Sherry Vandepoel, and I'm the founder and CEO of Catalytics. And we are creating LinkedIn for dairy cows so that dairy farmers can put together their dream team of animals. So how many people here have had dairy today? So we all love our products, but we're somewhat disconnected from the complex systems that make them. So did you know that about 50% of dairy farmers don't use a digitized solution to manage their farms? You can imagine the benefits. So why don't they use anything? I was talking to a farmer recently, and he has a large operation, uses the most popular dairy software out there, and his bank wanted him to get year-over-year inventory on his animals. He spent 3 days trying to get the numbers for the bank, called support, found out it's not actually possible, and we are changing that at Catalytics. We are taking away the frustration, the limitations, and we're creating an easy-to-use digital twin of a dairy farm so that dairy farmers can easily see their information, but they can also connect different data sources as well. So the first module we put out just a few months ago, it's a shared to-do list as well as a digital whiteboard. And so all of the dairy workers are on the same page. As part of that, we have a staff scheduler, because previously they were actually driving in to see a paper calendar to know if they show up or not. And so the digital twin here, it's It's the module that's coming out in a couple months. So this allows dairy farmers to actually view their entire operation. But if any of you have seen the movie Moneyball, where the top U.S. baseball team was created not based on how the players looked, but actually statistics, that's what we're allowing dairy farmers to do, so that they can actually go through and see all of their animals in context and actually make data-driven decisions, as well as all the other decisions that you need to make in a dairy management platform. So the third module coming out is economic modeling, predictive forecasting, but it also has a dairy AI piece where you can actually ask your dairy farm questions and it'll bring back answers specific to your cows and to trusted data sources. So what do our farmers think? Well, we have 42 dairies that are already part of this program, and they love us. They're our biggest advocates. This is, the pricing for the first module is $1,000 a year. And so the farmer I showed you up there, we quantified how much he's saving. He's saving $6,000 a month. That's $72,000 in labor costs a year. And if you know anything about agricultural labor shortages, this is things we can't ignore. The market is huge. It's $2 billion in Ontario, $944 billion worldwide. And there is competition out there, but it's either outdated, some of it written in the 1980s, or it's so tied to equipment, it will never be a solution for everyone. So we have clear go-to-market strategies. We, for instance, have it so that consultants can add onto our platform and create true value adds. So when they show up with this, they blow everybody out of the water. And for governments, we're giving them detailed insights that they can't get otherwise. Our team is cross-trained. I myself am a computer engineer as well as a large animal veterinarian. But in the end, if you're a dairy farmer, we want you to join us. If you're a consultant, let's work together. If you're an Agri-Tech company, let's integrate. But we want to continue to build a company that makes the University of Guelph and Canada proud. Thanks.
Thanks very much. Judges, I'll give you first question, Brian.
Thank you very much for that presentation. It's great to see something, affecting our dairy farmers here and helping them. When you're looking and with the product you're offering, does it allow farmers to compare, because you're saying it's like the LinkedIn for farmers, does it allow them to compare how their farm is doing to other dairy farmers, or are they looking just within their own herd?
Yeah, if they opt into that, then they can get a comparison. So it's sort of like this data share and take so that they'll be able to see what they're doing. But we also take the cows and we divide them into cohorts, and then we model their values so that they can actually see how an individual animal is doing against its cohort.
Good. Thank you.
In the competitive slide, you talked about a lot of the companies in, I guess, the lower quadrant that are tied to specific equipment. So are you equipment or other software agnostic? By and large?
We are. And so when we're talking about the big problems like sustainability, the targets that Dairy Farmers of Canada wants to hit, right now, if we can provide a free version of our software that could go on every single dairy farm and pull sustainability metrics. We have basic methane modeling, and we can do that for everyone. We're not tied to a piece of equipment. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
I had a question, and now I'm just going to follow up on that one. So when you talk about going on dairy farm and pulling the data, who would be your customer there? So who's your primary customer?
So our primary customer are dairy farmers, but we also want it so that a veterinarian comes on and they're trying to understand what happened with the disease outbreak. We have a tooling module so that they can go on and figure out what happened, what precipitated that. I used to do that, and I used to dig through mounds of data to try to get that answers. I know how hard it is, and so I know how to do it. But primarily, it's dairy farmers, but we also want to make it so that governmental organizations can hit their targets.
Presumably, though, the dairy farmer would basically have control over that, whether or not they were going to share that information with the veterinarian or the government or whatever, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And this would be data often that they would share, for instance, ProAction. They would share it anyways, but we would make that easier.
Okay. And how, you talk about integration, how easy is that? How are you finding some of these other providers that actually have their own solution?
Yeah.
How easy does that have?
It's a good question, but we have a track record. We've been in business for 10 years, and for all of that time, we've worked with other clients that have spent time trying to integrate. So we were the company that would work on those integrations. So we know how to do that. We know how to do that well. And so our system would be one of the, our system and our team would probably have the top skills in North America as far as integrating all those other systems. So.
Thank you. The slide you were showing on the overall market in Ontario and the worldwide market, when you're saying it's a $2 billion market in Ontario, is that for software for dairy farmers, or is that or what the market is worth itself?
So that's what the market is worth as well. If we look at our competitors, for instance, they charge about $4 an animal. So $4 a lactating dairy cow. But for instance, our operating costs beyond our support costs, but our base operating costs once this is built is about $1,000 a month. So once this is created, our operating costs are small. And given that there's about 1.5 million dairy cows in Canada, $4, that's something. But also the US market is really interested in this. We have connections in New Zealand. We have connections in Finland. So we have active projects going on as well in other places.
So what would you consider your dollar market opportunity on, say, a North America basis?
So if I'm to look at that, I would say it would be about, a reasonable one would be about $35 million recurring revenue in North America, including Mexico. So that would be a reasonable market.
Thank you.
I'll just build on that question. So the 35 million, that's the total market, or that's what you feel would be accessible to you?
That's what I feel would be accessible to us.
Okay. What are your sales today?
So our sales today, so we have our first module out. We have 42 dairy farmers on that. That's the $1,000 a year.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's sort of a foot in the door. That's something we pivoted towards because the farmers were asking for that.
And with the modules that you've got out now, like the task module, do you find that's the one that they're using the most, or?
It's they're both, the task module and the shift scheduler. They both love those things because they were about to use restaurant software because they just didn't have something that could fit this. And this, to be honest, this isn't even part of our initial business plan. This would be an additional value on top of that. And the task management, everybody on the farm has the app on their phone. We have a whiteboard that's mounted in the break room. As they swipe it off, they can tag cows in the task so that you can actually click through and see all of the history of that animal. So when you're talking, this intersects animal welfare, antibiotic usage, like all of the things that help them do things right, that occurs with that task module. You can go down the road and see it in action if you go on a tour.
Okay, thanks.
One more. What would be the next skill set you'd add to your team?
More sales and marketing. So we have an amazing cross-trained team. We have another vertical where we provide services to TELUS Agriculture. And so we have just an amazing team of people who understand hardware, software, data analytics, but everybody knows cattle. But we are definitely developer heavy compared to most other organizations. And so because of the way that we're doing marketing, we're always looking for people who know dairy and also who really know this area. So more of that would be great. Yeah, great questions.
Thanks very much. How about a round of applause for Catalytics? All right, that brings us to our third pitch, Earth One.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sid Pereira. I am the co-founder and CEO of Earth One. Plant care is hard. In fact, the average household in North America kills 7 houseplants. Earth One is going to bring that down to 0 by addressing a lack of time, lack of knowledge, and cost and fear of investment. You see, our solution is like a Fitbit for plants. The hardware sits in your plants and collects soil moisture, light, humidity, temperature data, and the software gives you a dashboard with custom notifications, automations, and smart home integrations. So you can ask Alexa, how are my plants doing? We make plant science easy with historical graphs, trends, analytics, all topped off with an AI sidekick. We have the best soil moisture sensor in the market, so not knowing how to water your plant will never be an issue ever again. We have proprietary algorithms, and we're pretty scalable. In fact, right now we're processing 1 million monthly data points with ease. Our current price point is $35 a sensor with an optional subscription plan for software, which brings additional features. One of these features is 50% off on all hardware in perpetuity, and customers make good use of this. In fact, we have a 25.6% attach rate between our primary and secondary product. So we're going to do hardware as a service, where users can get devices for $1.50 per device per month, inclusive of all software features. Our target market is $1 billion, and we intend on capturing $100 million. That's approximately 1 million households in North America. Our customers, plant daddies, plant mommies, plant parents, plant enthusiasts, you name it. And what are they growing? Houseplants, produce, even cannabis. In the competitive landscape, we're the company that ties it all together. Hardware that flat out works, software that's modular, and the cost to entry is low. How are we going to capture 100 million? Well, we need to grow and scale. We have a validated product, and we've entered the market with $60,000 of sales to show for. To grow, we need to create a robust marketing campaign to increase our direct-to-consumer sales and partner with retailers to capture foot traffic in garden centers. To scale, we bring our hardware costs down such that the hardware costs are paid off within the first few months of the subscription revenue. We are the team to do this. I forgot to write our names. I apologize. You've got the passionate product founder in myself, my co-founder, the infrastructure genius, his name is Encore, and the plant science phenom, Ashley, on the right-hand side. We still need help, $500,000 worth of help. We want to put this into our marketing campaign and to bring our hardware costs down such that we achieve scalability. Folks, we want to be in every plant, in every home in North America, and we hope you join us for the ride. My name is Sid. This is Earth One. Thank you.
Well done. Thanks, Sid. Brian, I'll give you first question this time.
Presentation and enthusiastic botanist. The hardware, are you making the hardware yourself? I know you've developed it, but are you making it yourself? What are your plans for that?
It's so for the first, we have around 1,500 units in circulation. I hand built the first 1,000 in my living room. Right now we have it done overseas to bring the cost down, just to get a feel for how fast things are assembled. Right now it costs $20 per unit, which is, I would still call this our MVP. The engineering we have in place brings this cost down to $2 landed. So we'd be, again, depending on overseas manufacturing for this. Okay. And when I refer to a device, all of these are nodes, i.e. the sensors. So right now they're still quite pricey, but yes.
Just a follow-up around the hardware. So how long would that last?
This one, it's 3 months, but it's rechargeable. And so far users haven't really had too much issue, but the next version of this device probably lasts 5 years. It's very low power. It's just sending out data packets to a central hub. Central hub talks to the cloud. Then we take the data, and you've got the dashboard for it. And
you did say that everyone loves plants, but really, who is your target market here?
Basically, the prosumers right now. These are the folks that have been generating our sales. By that, I mean folks that are looking to have the data access to it. Again, I use the Fitbit for plants metaphor because it's folks that are incredibly interested either in their fitness or in this case in their plants to see how they're doing, maximize yield, foliage, flowering. So these are the folks that end up using our devices quite a bit.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you for that presentation, Sid. With the market that you're targeting today, typically, are you looking for those that are tech enthusiasts, that are combination or plants, or are you really looking to, because when you're saying you want to get to those 100 million households, right, how is that not seeing the jump to the average consumer? Because, I mean, you're targeting, you say average house plants kill something like $700 a year. That's probably, I see that as high, because I do not pay $100 per plant, which is what you were showing there. So I'm wondering, how are you going to get at your average consumer and make it something attractive to them?
Yeah, so it's 100 million revenue. It's 1 million households. So right now our average order value is around $107. So that's about 3 devices. On a subscription plan, that's about $6 a month. $6 a month times a year, $72. Million households. That's how we get to that revenue. Of the 40 million participating households in North America, we're pretty confident that 1 million of them is our target demographic. Right now, we've only stalled because of capital constraints. Ultimately, this is a B2C space, so this involves a lot of good storytelling and messaging, but we think we have a pretty achievable market here, and from what we've seen in the market and the recurring customers that we have, folks will buy 3 to start, come back for 4, come back for 4 more. So we've got a lot of healthy indicators to tell us that we can, in fact, capture that 1 million household mark.
Thank you.
Coming back to something in one of your answers, is it working on Bluetooth, Wi-Fi? What's the combination there, and what's needed in the household?
Great question. So right now they're again MVP. So they're all talking to the Wi-Fi through Wi-Fi at the same time. The next version of this device is over Bluetooth and or radio. Users will have an option if they've got acres of land. Radio will talk to the hub, and if they don't need that much range, then Bluetooth will talk to the hub. The hub will talk to the cloud.
Okay, so the hub is talking to the cloud.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, there's no hub. There will be a hub.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Do you have any relationships with any plant suppliers now, greenhouses or anything? And is there any potential for this in more of a commercial plant production setting?
So they're actually, great question. No, not just yet, but we do get a lot of inbound sales. And what's nice, and I don't want to take away from the sort of focus of B2C here. We are well aware that there's a lot of application in the B2B space. Cannabis grow operations really like us. They like the ease of use and the sort of like modularity of everything. And especially when we have the new hardware, it's very not out of the question for us to spin up a B2B dashboard, piggybacking off of the same hardware. So we're aware. I just want to not rush and be sort of tactful about my hardware decisions and not have to spend capital twice, just one time.
Good strategy.
For the market you're going after today, how are your competitors doing in that market? Because you've listed some competitors. What's their market size compared to where you were at?
I would say they have a similar market size. Our competitors are one's based out of Chicago. They were on Shark Tank recently as well. We have one based out of New Zealand, one based out of Germany. So ultimately what makes us different is they've really focused on the software side of things to get users. And so far, a lot of their funding has just come from accumulating a bunch of users on an app. The one thing they're not spending a lot of time on is getting the hardware cheap, because we would believe the core components of getting this product solution right is having accurate and reliable data that's physical, paired with some of the software features that other companies are doing. So right now, to save on upfront capital costs, they're just sort of doing like, hey, take a picture of this plant and see what's wrong with it. Whereas we do a little bit of that, but also this has been your soil moisture over the last month. So
what is their market size right now, your largest competitor?
I would say the same $1 billion market globally.
Where are they at compared to the overall market? Like, are they doing $10 million?
Oh, same as us. I think
so everyone's new and just
exactly. It's a very, very new space. We all started in and around 2020, basically.
Okay, so no one's got 200 million, 100 million.
Not yet.
Okay,
no, sir.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. Good. How about a round of applause for Sid, everybody? All right. Erode AI is our next pitcher.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Cody, and I'm the founder and CEO at Erode AI. I'd like to start off today with a little bit of audience participation and ask everyone in the room to put up their hand if they've checked the weather in the last week. Now, can you keep your hand up if at least one of those times the forecast was wrong? All right, that's just what I thought. Now, for some of us, that bad forecast might have meant that you had to get rained out on a picnic or cancel a bike ride, but from talking to farmers across Canada, we've learned that even one bad forecast can truly put their livelihood at stake. Now, I don't want to pretend forecasting the weather is easy. Weather forecasts typically run on massive supercomputers that's historically been the domain of large government organizations, but it doesn't have to be that way. In recent years, advances in AI have changed the way we predict weather, and even large companies like Google and Microsoft in the tech space are paying attention. Along with this, the forecasting market and monitoring market has grown to billions of dollars or tens of billions of dollars annually. And interestingly, unlike any other AI industries, AI weather actually uses less carbon than traditional models. However, many of these new AI forecasts continue to be generalist models that are kind of jack of all trades, master of none. And getting the models to do what you want requires in-depth knowledge of a few things like cloud computing, machine learning, and weather forecasting. That's where Erode AI fits in. Our venture-backed company is building the next generation of AI-powered weather forecasting models. We've developed innovative technology that allows users to access weather forecasts at resolutions and accuracies that were previously unachievable. And real-world data can be integrated to better reproduce what users are actually seeing on the ground. Now, although Erode AI is a relatively young company that only came out of stealth mode last year, we've leveraged our massive network in the energy sector and are already working with some of the largest renewable companies in North America. Our goal of accessing the ag tech sector will require streamlining customer acquisition due to lower contract values, but it still represents a massive market opportunity. Now, Erode AI was founded by me and my co-founder, Craig McRitchie. We met as engineering students at the University of Guelph with similar backgrounds, having both arrived from small-town Ontario. And we immediately found a common interest in building innovative technology to solve real-world problems. We know that our hardworking team has the mentality and necessary skills to bring this technology to scale. In addition to his engineering degree, Craig worked previously in the water resources sector and has now worked as a full-stack developer for multiple companies in the fintech and ag tech sector. As a professional engineer, I can leverage my previous experience building climate and weather forecasting models, including systems that have been deployed for tens of billions of dollars of infrastructure across North America. My recently completed PhD thesis focused on applying AI to forecasting in the environmental space. Now, to help Erode AI succeed in the ag tech sector, we need your support. In addition to searching for investors to support our seed round this fall, we're actively looking for both companies and founders in the ag tech sector willing to advise us, as well as finding out what's valuable for farms and to test our technology. Can't do it without your support. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Deb, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Great presentation. Thank you very much. I think you said you're less than a year. You're in energy.
Yeah, a year full time. We've been doing it now.
Okay,
yeah.
And you're in energy. You're moving to ag. Why the switch? Why are you not a full bore into the energy sector?
I guess we're trying to go into a couple different verticals to test the markets out. There are more competitors probably right now in the ag tech sector in the energy sector because the contract values are so high. We keep hearing, we go to conferences. It's always farmers coming up talking to us. I've got this problem. I've got that problem, and I could probably write a list of many pages of all the variety of problems that we've heard. And we just think farmers aren't being served by these kind of custom forecasting solutions right now. We want to find a way to make it work.
Thank you very much for that presentation. You started off with the poll in terms of accuracy, so I'm going to ask you the question, how accurate have your models been?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, we've been so busy building for a long time. We hadn't done a lot of auditing. We saw, it's better, and they keep getting better, but how much better? So we actually spent some time in the last couple of weeks doing some testing. And, specifically for wind, we've got really good results for this part of Ontario. And if you're working with the traditional weather forecast versus ours, you're actually, the error is about 50% higher root mean squared error.
Put that in English?
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, our forecasts are about 30% better.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And just to build on that, so 30% better. So you mentioned wind. Is that wind velocity, direction, wind, what is it that's better, or it's all those parameters?
Yeah, so that's wind velocity, but I don't want to pretend that we have one model. We're actually a platform for building custom weather solutions. Right now, there's a lot of companies that are kind of in this competitive space with us, and they're all claiming to have the best weather model. But they're all these generalist models. What we want companies to do is they're sitting on massive amounts of data sometimes. They've got local knowledge of what happens at their site. We want to allow them to integrate that into our platform. And then we actually kind of tweak the models to be better at what they're doing. So traditional weather models rely on physics. And sometimes there's just no way that they can match what's happening on the ground because the physics say it can't happen. But we know what happens. AI can learn that. And by letting the performance of parameters like, humidity in Malaysia suffer a bit, we can get better forecasts for your wind on your farm. because that's what you really care about. So we're kind of offering this solution where we get them to give us their data, tell us what's important to them, and then we build them a custom solution and serve the forecast to them.
Okay. And with your 30% number that you gave, is that based on daily weather, 7 days, 14 days, so short or long term?
Yeah, so that's actually, we've got a couple different models. That's just the error that comes exclusively from going from the coarser resolution to the finer resolution of the forecast. So there's additional error with the forecast on that, but that's just the downscaling error. There's kind of an additional error that you can look at, and it does kind of, over time, you'll get better accuracy, but I don't have an exact number for that right now. Okay. It's hard to say because it's different for every site. Yeah. Probably, you know, the worse that you notice it is on the ground relative to the forecast, the better we can do for your location.
Okay.
And you may have mentioned it, but could you talk about pricing? How much do you plan to charge?
That's a big question for us. Right now we're imagining the average agriculture consumer is going to pay around $1,000 a year. It's much lower in the energy sector right now. You know, the contracts are $25 to $100K a year. So we're going to have to streamline some processes, probably whether it's working with a partner, maybe to integrate into another solution. We know farmers are already using some software solutions in their fields. I think that's probably the way to go. We can't do the same founder-led sales approach we have in the energy sector right now, and that's where hopefully we need the support of some people in this room to provide that, you know, mentorship and guidance.
Excellent. Thanks. So building off of that, what do you see, and I know you're still working through that, what do you see as the market potential for this product in the ag tech sector, and as part of that, what do you see as the ROI for farmer? Because I mean, you're saying one wrong forecast can be catastrophic. So, I mean, there's got to be some point where they're saying this is a no-brainer for them to do it.
Yeah, I think some of the things that we've seen, like probably the two highest value solutions that are broadly scalable are for planting and harvesting. So we understand that there's a big problem right now at harvest time, understanding what the moisture is of your crops. And basically, if you harvest too early, you end up having to pay a lot of money for natural gas to dry the crops. But if you wait too long, sometimes, you know, you can have loss of crop value. We also understand that at planting time, basically, if you plant and it's really dry afterwards, your seeds aren't going to germinate properly. I think those are the two areas we're going to try to focus. In terms of market size, it's tough to say, but we think an achievable market for us in just the ag sector in North America would probably be 10 to 20 million.
Okay. The competition that's out there, let's say in the energy sector, because it sounds like there's more in the energy sector.
Yeah.
Are they approaching it from a different way than you are?
Yeah, they are. As far as I know, we're the only company right now that's actually custom fine-tuning weather models for each of the users. There's a big race on right now to kind of have the best weather model, but they're all comparing against actually simulated data. So when they say, like, we're the best relative to this global simulation that was run, what we're trying to do is take the ground data and bring that ground data in and reproduce that. We don't really care about achieving the same benchmarks. I mean, obviously our models are better also when compared against the simulations, but we don't want to be the best against the simulations. We want to reproduce what's actually happening on the ground.
Okay. And with the temperature, you mentioned you aren't doing temperature yet?
No, we are doing temperature.
Oh,
so
you are. Okay.
Right now we're forecasting 5 parameters: temperature, precipitation, wind, relative humidity, and we have 2 heights for wind actually, one for 80 meters, one for 10 meters. Okay. Yeah, solar radiation is the last one I missed. Yeah.
Good, thanks.
All right, how about a round of applause for Cody, everybody?
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, and our 5th and final pitch, Interius Farms.
Excellent, good morning. So at Interius Farms, we were founded with a mission to make fresh, sustainable produce affordable. Now, there's a few reasons why we view this mission as so important, but North America's increasing water scarcity is right at the top. America's Colorado River is at its lowest level in over 1,000 years, and the reason this matters for us here in Canada and for the rest of North America is it's where almost all of our food comes from, particularly for crops like lettuce and strawberries. And so when you look at the alternatives that exist today on how we localize that production, there's 2 models that have come out. On one side, you have vertical farming. Crops are grown indoors on stacked beds. It's highly spatially dense, but the key issue here is you don't make use of natural light. It's ultra energy intensive. Greenhouse production, on the other hand, much less spatially efficient, but you get that benefit of natural light. And so in turn, it's much less energy intensive. So at Interius Farms, what we've done is ask a question that almost no one in either industry has asked. What would happen if we combine these 2 models? What if we took the spatial efficiency of indoor vertical farming and brought it to the greenhouse sector with its energy efficiency. And so what we've done is developed a proprietary growing system that's designed to be both highly spatially dense, but also capture that natural sunlight. I won't go into much detail here, but the towers rotate in place. What that means is you get good uniform light coverage across the tower while still being able to dramatically increase the spatial efficiency of production. What that ultimately means for growers in the greenhouse sector is we're able to compress that greenhouse space. With half the capex, they can produce the same amount of cash flow, meaning they double their return on equity. So for us, this is what's really key as well. We're able to go to these growers with a licensing and service-based model. There's been a ton of failures in the vertical farming space, and it's because everyone's taken the value chain end to end. We're able to charge growers up to $1 million per acre, but we don't bear the capex, and we have a high margin business model. Super quickly on the market size, we don't realize it, but we eat a ton of lettuce and strawberries, 7 million tons in North America each year. If you take that opportunity against our revenue per acre, it's a $7 billion market opportunity in North America alone. We are already in market. So these were our first clients in Quebec. It's Veronique and Anthony. What we were able to do with them is go in and take 1% to 2% of their greenhouse space and boost their revenue by up to 10%. For a small grower like this is life-changing stuff. On the team, we don't have a ton of time here to go into all of us. So what I'll quickly highlight is the folks from Plenty. Anyone who's not familiar in the space, Plenty is the global leader in indoor vertical farming. Peak interest rate mania, they had a $7 billion valuation. Both as advisors and team members, we've actually poached a few of the people as the team's downsized. Super quick recap on where we've come from and where we're at today. We did initial R&D. We stupidly started in the indoor vertical farming space, realized it wasn't working, and pivoted over last year. We found product market fit with our technology, and this year we're starting to move into more projects, and importantly, more scaled projects. We've got a pipeline both in British Columbia and in the Leamington area. As far as our ask and our vision of where we want to take this thing, we want 15% of all crops in North America for lettuce and strawberries to be grown with our system. What we're asking for is $1 million to continue to build out our team and execute on our commercial pipeline. Thank you. I can't believe that was 3 minutes.
Catch your breath. Brian, first question will be from you.
Very great presentation. Looks like a lot of opportunity. I love the engineering going into it, especially that cool picture of Boston Dynamics robot. Given your challenges and where you want to go, to me, I see this as a very expensive endeavor to scale, right? So, I mean, the $1 million isn't going to go very far, especially if you're offering something where it's a service model. What do you really need, dollar-wise?
Yeah, so it's interesting. We've tried to design, to be honest, I do think to start out it's $1 million and it's mainly going into tech development. The key nuance I want to capture here is we don't bear the CapEx. So what's really great about this industry, we started for years as an indoor vertical farming company and no one would give us money because it's not venture backable because it's so capital intensive. Everyone said do a licensing model. There's no one to sell indoor vertical farming systems to. There's hundreds of millions of dollars of greenhouse capex in Ontario alone each year. So our clients are comfortable putting it up. To give an example is M&A, but Mucci Farms just did probably a $300+ million transaction for a 160-acre greenhouse in Leamington. So there's lots of capital out there where we don't have to be the ones actually paying for the systems.
Okay, so you're not putting up the capex.
Exactly.
You're just building the team and offering this. So where's your margin then?
Yeah, so the key thing that we do, it's across a few different pieces. So what we do is we bring the hardware through. This was a bad idea. We do a pass-through essentially on the hardware capex. We have IP on our system, and so it's a licensing play. But importantly, what we also do is we attach software to it. So all sorts of things that make the system not only easier to work with, but also more reliable and speak to other systems in the greenhouse. We bring in the SaaS side of things. It is a mechanical-based system, and so the second piece is preventive service and maintenance. And lastly, around agronomy services. So growers typically grow tomatoes, peppers, and cucumbers here in Canada. This is a new crop for them and a new system, so we bring in experts to sell that. So all three, that's kind of that bundle of sort of high-margin revenue streams.
Yeah, great presentation. And just building on this, so your SaaS and IP licensing, that's a one-time fee to the $500,000 that you've got there?
No, it's on a recurring revenue basis. So really what we looked at is we said, we have dramatically different economics than greenhouse growers are used to. Our return on capital is significantly higher. what is a reasonable recurring revenue stream that we can pull out of that and then bring to us where we can still significantly increase the return on capital and start to bring products to market at a cheaper rate. So we said, okay, this is where we know roughly we can charge, but no one wants to pay $1 million for an IP license. Let's listen to our customer problems and then start to solve those problems and integrate in solutions around that. So it's a recurring revenue-based model, and we're basically taking a stream of cash flows off the deployment of the technology, but we're adding value for the customer in doing so.
And that's on a per acre basis.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Your platform, or whatever you call it, how long will that last, and how easy is it to retrofit an existing greenhouse?
Yeah, great question. So I'll take the first piece first. There's going to be a bigger challenge as we go up to a 1 acre scale in terms of retrofit because the planting densities are so much higher. Today, what's really great about this business model is it's super easy to retrofit if we just want to go in with a small system. So as far as getting customer engagement and doing pilot projects, we can literally go in with a few hundred square feet of greenhouse space, and we can produce tens of thousands of dollars of revenue for spaces that would otherwise produce hundreds of dollars of revenue. And so it's a really easy way to do client engagement. If I'm being completely honest, 2-3 years down the road, we do a $5 million project. We're going to have to think much more carefully about climate, and that's why stuff like control systems will become more important. Your second question, sorry, I took them in reverse order.
How long will it last?
Yeah, it's all different components, and so that's where this sort of like service and preventive maintenance, we have mechanical parts that will blow out within 2 years, and we need to be on top of that preventatively. I'm dealing with a service issue in Quebec right now. And then there's other components like the frame that'll last 10, 15 years, and so it's a complete mix. But the idea is to be ahead of things so the growers can worry about growing.
What sort of moat do you have around this in terms of somebody being able to come in and reproduce what you're doing?
Yeah, it's a really great question. So our core innovation is that ability to rotate the tower in place. And the key thing is we rotate the tower in place, but we can also move it linearly. So everything works like it's on an assembly line. So we have transplant, crops go out to grow, then they go to harvest. And so the combination of that rotation and the linear movement is where we have a patent. Someone's ultimately going to have to try and rip that off, or they're going to remove the conveyance aspect and still increase density. So the key thing that we're going to look to do from there is, one, use software, but also start to work on integrations with automation partners so that we're always one step ahead. So when you ask about like, well, you know, what do you need capital for? That's why I say it's tech development. We want to go and work with the companies working on harvest automation, for example, and start to build solutions around that, so no one's caught up to us on that next step of the tech development.
So it's very much about staying ahead of the competition.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the core foundation of IP, but I'm not going to rest on people not ripping off our patent.
Reverse engineering is probably not that hard.
Yeah.
And I was using, and that isn't patent pending. That is a patent that you've got.
Yeah, unfortunately, still pending. I'm shocked how long this takes. It's been pending for like 2 years, but Canada, U.S., EU, and then 2 Gulf countries as well. Yeah.
Quick question again to this same slide. The service portion of it. When you give the return, the difference in return to the grower, you're taking into account their total costs as far as maintenance and all of that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we do the service labor, and that's part of that contract, but they actually pay for the hardware on the repairs. And we assume, basically we take a blended rate to your question of when are we expecting things to fail, and then we build that into our recurring CapEx model for them, so that's off of their cash flows. Okay. So when I do, hopefully it's the page before, but when I do that $1.1 million of cash flow, that's net of them having to spend a few $100,000 or $200,000 each year on average to replace stuff. Lights will burn out after 8 years, that type of thing.
Steal one last quick one. Is you mentioned it earlier. If you keep adding these to a traditional greenhouse or conventional greenhouse, it is going to change the atmosphere in there. So is there going to be additional costs to deal with all of that as well?
Yeah, so we're not introducing it yet, but it is, again, like in our CapEx modeling. For example, when I say $7.5 million of CapEx in this scenario here, that assumes supplemental dehumidification capacity, which is the primary thing that we look at. So there's companies out there like Dry-Air, and so we're assuming that we're going to have to buy a bunch of Dry-Air systems to complement what we're doing.
So done? Yeah. Just so I understand, you're going to have service teams then? Where do you envision having your service teams if you're talking North American?
Yeah, it's a great
market?
question. I'm problem solving through this right now. The good thing about the greenhouse industry is it tends to be clustered.
Yes.
So there's a ton, as you know, in the Leamington-Kingsville area. The biggest issue we're having right now is we have a client site up in Quebec, and then most of the opportunities down Leamington. And so for those, it's going to be more finding people who are flexible to work on call. The vision is if you're in Leamington, we'll just have a team of service techs, and that's kind of going to be where the focus is. So the benefit is, and it's a global phenomenon, like the Westerland in Holland has 60% of the Netherlands greenhouses. So the same thing happens in different regions around the world where they get clustered. Same thing in British Columbia as well.
Thank you.
How about a round of applause for Johnny? All right, well, congratulations to all of you. I really did enjoy going through all the presentations thinking, oh, that's such a great idea. I should taste that. I should buy that. I need a greenhouse first, but then I'm good for yours too. So, but really, congratulations to all of you for being the finalists. What we're going to do is we're going to let the judges deliberate, and then we'll bring you back. You also have a timeline. I'm going to start knocking on the door in 20 minutes if you can't decide by then. But in the meantime, what we'd love to do is have the finalists. Where do you want to do the picture, Kelly? Up right here? Sure. Yep. So we'll get the finalists up front to do a picture. And in the meantime, you don't have to sit awkwardly in silence while the judges deliberate. Do mingle among yourselves, have a conversation with some of these companies and learn more about them. And just before we go to break, I do want to make mention of the Ontario Agri-Food Innovation Alliance, as well as RHA Ventures for sponsoring them. I'll mention them again when we get to the end. And we'll be back in a few minutes with the results. Thanks very much.
I'm Kim Parker, and I'm the President and CEO of Food Security Structures Canada. We are an ag-tech company that provides controlled environment agricultural solutions that include a climate-resistant building, as well as vertical aeroponic grow walls, and our own unique LED lighting system, which allows individuals and communities to grow fresh, nutritious produce anywhere in the world all year long. We were part of the 2023 Agri-Tech Pitch Competition, and we were thrilled to be selected as the People's Choice Award winner. This past year has been a whirlwind. Shortly after participating in the pitch competition, we received the news that we had won a major grant competition. In partnership with Professor Joshua Pierce and the engineering team at Western University, we were selected as one of 11 teams competing for the Homegrown Innovation Challenge funded by the Weston Family Foundation. This challenge grant focuses on increasing Canada's berry production, largely because currently over 80% of Canada's strawberries are imported. Through this grant, we built the first movable agri-tunnel. That was the topic of our Agri-Tech pitch competition a year ago. The agri-tunnel has been built at Western University and is partnered with Dr. Pierce's agrivoltaic solar arrays with the goal of having a net zero production system. While our focus is on strawberries, we have over 40 research pieces coming out of that project, including a root vegetable growing system. We're looking at a CO2 system that is generated in partnership with mushrooms, as well as crop expansion to include plant-based proteins. We have been so honored to be working with Western University on this project and look forward to competing for the next round of funding coming up this fall. In addition to this important project, we've been working with a number of local farmers implementing our growing systems, as well as northern communities who are looking to address food security by growing locally all year round. These projects are an exciting opportunity for us to help farmers grow high-quality food and establish local supply so that they're not having to import from long distances away. Over the next year, we will be continuing to focus on the research from the Agri-Tech Agri-Tunnel project to maximize yields and minimize operating costs. Our goal with our system is to have maximum return on investment on the market while also producing food that is high quality and tastes great. Our system provides a great ROI, but we are hoping to be the best. Our mission is to empower people and communities to take control of their own food locally all year round And to do that, we are seeking strategic partners and investors to help us scale up. We are looking for funding to assist us in scaling up our team, but it's important that we have the right partners. We're looking for a partner that is philosophically aligned, someone who cares about feeding people, because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. By taking the weather and climate out of the farming equation, we really have an opportunity to help address food insecurity here in Canada and around the world. We'd like to thank the Ontario Agri-Tech Pitch Competition, the Ontario Agri-Food Innovation Alliance, and the University of Guelph for the opportunity to participate in last year's competition. It was a tremendous experience, and we are so grateful for your support. To find out more information about our company, please visit us on our website, foodsecuritystructures.ca, or connect with us on social media. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Christian, and I am the co-founder and CEO of BioEffect Innovations. We're a biotech startup from Toronto, and what we're doing is we're harnessing the power of microbial fermentation to create high-value molecules and products. And it's essentially the same process that we can use to make beer, wine, or insulin, and it starts with friendly microbes like yeast, for example, where you grow them in fermentation tanks, and as they grow, they make the product in the process like beer. The difference with us is that we've bioengineered these friendly yeasts so that instead of making beer, they're making high-value ingredients and molecules instead. And with this microbial platform, if you will, we're producing a protein called brazine. And this protein, brazine, it's naturally found in a West African fruit called the oublie berry. And the protein itself, it's 2,000 times sweeter than sugar. So it has the potential to be the next generation sweetener that's not only sweeter but also healthier because it's a protein. And of course, this berry, it only grows in West Africa. And brazine, you only find it in about 0.1% of the cell or the dry mass of the fruit itself. So even if you can grow the fruit anywhere else, you can't economically scale it with traditional agriculture. So what we did then is we essentially took the DNA from the oublie berry itself, and then we took that DNA blueprint and we bioengineered or introduced it into our microbial platform, which we then fermented in fermentation tanks to make brazine. We started this project in June 2022. And at last year's Agri-Tech pitch competition, we were honored to be able to bring home the prize, which really ignited our attraction last year. And from that event, we gained a lot of valuable exposure, even being contacted by big media outlets, for example. And ultimately, this gave our young startup the credibility that it needed. Because of this credibility, we were able to raise additional non-dilutive funding that led to even more exposure and even more traction. And the financial resources that we were able to attract, it ultimately allowed us to develop our technology. We were able to acquire the necessary equipment so that we can continue improving and validating our microbial platform system. And by the end of 2023, we raised about $500,000 in just non-dilutive funding. And it really allowed us to shore up our R&D so that we can produce the best version of brazine, which we've distributed to highly promising customers who are currently evaluating the product. So this year, we want to maintain that momentum that we got in 2023. We want to scale up our production even more to larger fermenter volumes and engage in more pilot projects with really high promising customers. And we're also in the process of raising our very first round of funding. And, all thanks to some of our early wins, which of course the Agri-Tech competition was certainly one of. There's still a lot left to do for us, but nonetheless, we're very proud of what we've achieved, and we're very grateful to our partner organizations around the world, especially the ones that we have here at home, such as the University of Guelph, AMAFRA, Grand River Ag Society, and so many more that we really give thanks to. So with that, I'm just wishing everybody a great event. Best wishes to the pitching companies. Thank you.
Hi everyone, congratulations on being a part of the 2024 pitch competition. I'm really happy to be here to provide an update on SciGriff. So I'm Sean Thompson, I'm the co-founder and CEO of SciGriff. We're a University of Guelph spin-out company founded in 2018. I founded the company with Professor Gopi Palyath, based off of his decades of work in biochemistry and plant science. So we have a carbohydrate-based nanomaterial that's derived from sour cherries. So we can use this as a delivery vehicle for molecules in agriculture, in food, and in pharmaceuticals. So it's biodegradable, non-toxic, anti-inflammatory on its own, and it's an advanced material that we believe can replace many petrochemicals and lipids that are used as delivery systems today. So it's been a really interesting entrepreneurial journey. As I mentioned, we've started 7 years ago. It's been a lot harder than I thought it would be. It takes a lot more effort to convince people of this new technology. But I'm really pleased to say at this point, we filed 20 patents in 2018, the end of 2018. We now have 3 granted in India, Japan, and the United States. 17 more to go, and I can see on the horizon those are going to start to grant later on this year. We've had 3 successful pilots with major global companies in the food business and in agriculture. And we've learned a lot through those pilots. We've learned a lot about what our technology can do and what we need to do to achieve a major deal, a licensing of our technology to these companies. And most of it has to do with manufacturing capacity. That has been the major blockage for us. The technology is performing well, people believe it, but we can't or couldn't make enough. And that's been the major issue. So I'm pleased to say that since 2022, when we were still at lab scale, we've increased our manufacturing output 20-fold by working with excellent contract manufacturers, mostly in the Montreal area. And we have soft launched our first product in the United States, a dietary supplement called Cholesterol, and we have our first sale. We haven't announced this publicly yet, but that's coming in the next couple of weeks. There's a couple of things we want to do, like stock our inventory pipeline, so that once that announcement is made, people will be able to buy and receive the material the next day. But this Cholesterol product is all natural ingredients that's powered by NanoPet, our delivery technology. And what we've shown in studies conducted at the University of Guelph in animals is a dramatic increase in the absorption of the molecules we're carrying. So these nutrients that are in foods that we don't eat enough of in the Western diet, we could deliver them in a mega dose in a pill, and that's what we're doing. We showed we can lower cholesterol, we can control weight and inflammation, and it does a lot of exciting things that we know that vegetables do if eaten in sufficient quantity. So our goals going forward really are to ramp our sales of Cholesterol in the U.S. and expand the marketing to other markets that we have plans to market once our supply can support it. We need to attract new investment because our manufacturing 20 times greater is wonderful, and it's enough for us to launch Cholesterol, but for us to go into the bigger, higher margin markets that we want to go after in ag and pharma, we need to be at 1,000 times where we were at in 2022. So we need to go up tenfold again, and then another tenfold on top of that. And then evergreening our patents. We have ideas on new patents that we can file to extend the life of our technology, which, I mean, it goes to the end of 2038 now, which is great, but we think we can extend that even longer and attract even more companies to sort of use Nanopect as the Intel inside for their products. So I want to leave you with just one piece of advice from my journey over the last 7 years, and that is spend more time talking to customers and spend less time talking to investors. I've met more than 300 investors who call themselves early stage investors over the last 7 years, and all of them, all 300 have told me my company is too early, despite the progress we made. But talking to customers is where we have really been able to advance the company. So I'll leave you with that. Good luck in the pitch competition, and whether you win or lose, I wish you all the best for your entrepreneurial journey.
Bernard Tobin here at Canada's Outdoor Farm Show. I am now catching up with Colin Yates from Vetson, virtual healthcare for farm animals. Colin, thanks for taking some time.
Thank you for having us.
Hey, I want to talk about veterinarian access these days. It's a real challenge for farmers to get access in many areas to veterinarians. Your program here is a virtual answer to that question. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so Vetson is a telemedicine platform for veterinarians to better reach their existing farm clients or to reach farm clients that they wouldn't have been able to reach to in the past. And this is important because there's a global shortage of veterinarians. It's not just a Canadian issue or a U.S. issue. This is happening in the U.K. and Australia, around the world. So this frees up time for the veterinarian to essentially just sit on their computer or on their phone and have a conversation rather than making that 45-minute drive. And in some cases in Canada, it could be a 3-hour drive to do a simple call that could have been done over the phone and in 15 minutes. So, why not save that time of the veterinarian and also the cost for the farmer to answer those questions quite simply.
Now, this is a new program you've started back in November, and yesterday here at the Farm Show, you won the Innovation Award for Livestock. Talk about what's happened here in less than a year.
Yeah, it's very exciting. We knew that there would be a lot of interest from farms. We knew the pain that, this was developed with my father and I. My father's been a veterinarian for 47 years. I grew up seeing the strain on veterinarians, especially farm animal veterinarians. And especially for smaller farms, getting access is a huge challenge and a huge stress for them, and often it means them getting out of farming, and that's definitely not what we want to see.
Let's talk about the platform. Let's talk about how it works. It really, for a farmer, it starts with an app, right?
Yes, it's as simple as taking your smartphone, going to the Apple Store or the Google Play Store, downloading the app for free, and then if you don't have a veterinarian, we will tie you to a veterinarian, or we're looking to partner with other veterinary practices across Canada to make sure that they can get their clients onto the app and work with their clients. We're not looking to poach their clients. We're looking to make sure that veterinarians get better access to their own clients and vice versa.
Talk about the relationship. How does it work? I'm video conference on the app. How does that connection work and that sort of exchange of information and getting veterinarian care?
Yep. It all is about a VCPR. So what our app allows that farmer to do is establish a VCPR with that veterinarian or their existing veterinarian. They're able to do video consultations by simply clicking a calendar booking, and then after that consultations, they can go right in, make a prescription, and order that medication and have it shipped to the farm. Yeah. We're also looking at building, since it's a platform, we're looking at building in sensors as well as point-of-care tests so that that farmer can deploy those tests, share that information back with their veterinarian who may be 3 hours away, so they can have a good conversation and make real decisions rather than, some basic visuals.
Now, how do the programs work? Is it a monthly program, an as-per-use program? How does that work?
Yeah, so we have two plans that we're doing with our partner practice right now and serving clients all over Ontario. One is a pay-as-you-go plan where simply you go in, you can book a video consultation, you pay up front for that video consultation, or after that video consultation, you can go into our storefront, you purchase the medication, that veterinary clinic will ship that medication direct to your door. Or there's a monthly plan that gives you 30 minutes of free consultation per month, as well as a free shipment of medication straight to your door per month.
Now you had more than 100 farmers prescribed here. You'd like to take this across Canada. You're in Ontario now, but those growth plans would be there?
Oh yes, we're not just looking to take it across Canada, but this is a global issue when technology is a global solution to that issue. And it doesn't matter what type of farm you are, you need to talk to your veterinarian to help make you those decisions. We can do this across globally in scale.
How do farmers get connected with VetSun?
Yep, you can go to our app, website at vetsun.ca, or you can just go to the Play Store or on your iPhone on the App Store, download our app, connect to us, and we'll be happy to talk to you.
All right, everybody, if you can find your seats, I have the all-important piece of paper that has our winners. All right, well, I hope you did. I know in the room, I was kind of keeping an eye on the screen. There were some great videos of some of the finalists from last year, and hopefully for those online, they were able to see those videos. It's fun to be able to look back at those, and just kind of then I had to do some Google searching to see how they were getting along, and it's exciting that all of you will be in that position next year. So to start, the judges had the tough job, and then assigned Brian as their spokesman, who they're Brian, middle Brian. Brian, if you could maybe give a few comments about what you found from our finalists today.
Thanks very much, Andrew. Yeah, I mean, competition and the pitching today was great. And I really commend the University of Guelph for this pitch competition. I judge a number of pitch competitions across the country, even into the U.S., and the quality of companies here today was excellent, right? I mean, it's really great to see for the Canadian sector, really great to see for the ag sector. You know, excellent companies all have a lot of huge potential, going great places, you know, great impacts to the industry, great impacts to Canada overall as an ecosystem. So really loved what we saw. You know, each of them brought some different flavors to the table, you know, whether focused on the consumer sector, B2B, different areas. So some of that made it a little bit different, the choice, you know, where are they actually going? How are they going to impact overall? Love that they've got potential, future, understanding of their markets, understanding of what the future opportunities are. Each had good teams looking towards what do they need to go, what's their next steps, where they need to go forward. So well covered off. But we enjoyed it, enjoyed ourselves. This was fun. Had a lot of fun talking about the companies afterwards. You know, some that we'll actually love to follow up with even beyond this. So yeah,
that's wonderful.
Comments.
Well, Deb, Brian, thanks for your work today. All right, so our first award, we've got our People's Choice Award that was selected from folks online. It's a $2,500 award, and I'm very pleased to let Kelly present this to Beck's Broth. Yeah, come on up.
Our first trophy. I know. We've been harassing everybody online for this for like the past week. So, but yeah, thanks so much. It was so much fun to be here, and this was our first time ever pitching together as a team. So Dominique just came on board in November, so now we get to come out into the world and do all the fun business things together. So it was a great way to break that ice. So yeah.
Well, congratulations. And our grand prize winner today, along with obviously the recognition of being grand prize, goes home with $10,000 as well. And the winner of that, Antarius Farms. Johnny, congratulations. Congratulations, Johnny.
Yeah, just super quickly, thank you so much to the University of Guelph for putting this on. Kelly, all your hard work, it doesn't go unnoticed. God, let's do this. For us, this money actually goes a long way.
Yeah. Thanks, Johnny. Well, that's wonderful. And again, congratulations to all of the finalists, the judges, and all of you both online and here in person that are here to recognize and celebrate what great ag tech we do have here in Ontario. Thanks again to our sponsors. We've got the Ontario Agri-Food Innovation Alliance. I don't want to get that acronym wrong, as well as RHA Ventures with a 519 Growth Fund. So thanks to those sponsors. Certainly, if you would like to, for those in the room, they are going to do a tour of the collective upstairs. You can meet just kind of in the main lobby, and they'll take you upstairs. And certainly there's a tour there, some networking opportunities with some light refreshments as well. Thanks for those online, and can't wait to do this again next year. Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much, Andrew.